Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. For today's interview, we have Gigi joining us. She is a software engineer and founder of CryptoTechWomen and W3 Learn Academy. And I'm super excited to jump into this interview with you. I have seen you so many times at events. We definitely have to talk about events. And yeah, I think we first met over a year ago at a Smilesverse party. And then I've just run into you at every single event ever since. Probably see you as much as I see CryptoStorm at this point. So yeah, but it's great to have you on. Thank you for joining us, Gigi, and welcome to the show.
No, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I definitely saw you at Smilesverse. You're doing your little content. But I was telling my friends, I'm like, I listened to NFT Catcher podcast. I think it was like, when did you guys start? I'm pretty sure it was late 21 when I first heard of it. And I was like,
August 2021. Yep.
So we've been out here.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I was even, because you know, what's crazy is you had, or whoever ran the CryptoTechWomen Twitter account, had messaged me back in December of 2021, and I did a Twitter Spaces with you guys. And I totally had kind of forgotten about that. And then I was like, oh my God, that's right. Like, we did a Twitter Spaces together really early on.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, I remember that. We were super excited because I think there's a lot of podcasts that were on at that time. And I love the way that you guys structure the show and the people you brought on. So I was like, yeah, let's get them in.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's been a fun journey with this podcast. Michael, how have you been? It's been a while since we've recorded. It's been like 10 days.
I know. It feels like it's been a little bit. I've been great. Everything's good. Had a nice vacation with the family, Jersey Shore, Philadelphia.
Jersey Shore.
Stuff. Yeah, that's where I was last time when we talked.
Oh, okay.
Jersey Shore. Now I'm back in Florida, back in the office.
Nice.
Yeah, everything's
good. We're in Florida. I just moved to Miami.
Yeah, I saw you're in Miami. I'm in Broward. I'm in Parkland.
We'll have to do an NFT meetup here.
That would be
the
awesome.
5 of us that are left.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
well, do you know Monica Rojas?
Not yet.
Hey.
Monica we've had her on. She's a Jenny's friend, but a mutual friend now. Yeah, she sends out a little like text message every week with all the different crypto events in Miami.
I'm gonna have to sign up to that. I'm looking to build that community.
Yeah, I'm gonna DM you after we're done, because I get that text message. There's all kinds of cool events. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I would love to hear about how you got into NFTs.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a journey it has been. So for NFTs, I actually got into crypto back in 2017 through some of my friends. They were already buying all sort of coins, kind of forced me to go to this convention in Vegas. We were all there for Christmas. Don't ask me why. And they're like, oh, there's this event happening. Like, you just have to go with us because we're all going. It's like, great. And that was the first time I started hearing about, differences between stock and coins. And, for me, it was, okay, they're doing really well. So I'm just going to trust the process. And these are people that have bought and hold for 10 years, right? And they're doing really, really well with that strategy. And I was like, okay, I'll buy some. But I wasn't really deep into it. I'm a coder since I was 16 years old. And that's always been my love and my passion, just coding. Later on in 2020, I believe, or 2021, as I was working for my previous company, Forethought, we did a little retreat. It's the pandemic. We got a house in Vegas. So somehow Vegas is a recurrence thing. And we were just all there kind of like building things together for some clients that we have. And I remember it's the Zed run was popping at that time. It was going crazy. And I was just kind of making jokes with the team, like, oh, we should build like an NFT and, and I don't know, that was kind of like me going into the NFT craze, but really it was Gary Vee. Gary Vee did a podcast. I feel like he's always ahead of his times. Like he always knows what's going to pop. And he's like, you have to learn about this technology. And the first proposition wasn't really something that I cared about, which was the flexing. Like you can flex, right? You can say you're the only owner of this and it's verified on chain. And I'm not much of a flexer, so I was like, sounds interesting. I know of a certain demographic that would enjoy that. I'm from Venezuela. Like we literally hide our phones to go on the streets, because someone might steal it. Like I'm not, but I thought it was really cool. And I just kept reading about it. Eventually, one of my friends who I told about, like, I was like, hey, you got to go into this NFT thing. He came back to me at some point and was like, hey, you need to learn Solidity and help me build play to earn game. And I had no idea what Solidity was, but he did say like, hey, we're going to make a challenge. Let's see who can learn first. And I am highly competitive. So once it was propositioned that way, I kind of just went all in into learning Solidity just to beat him. I fell in love with the technology and the potential that it had outside of just flexing things. And, I think the technology itself, especially being code, was something that really attracted me into learning more about it and kind of building something that could do good through the power of the kind of like ERC-21 like contracts. And I think crypto as a whole, has so much potential to do so much good. And it's all about how we're using it. And that was back in 21. So it was like summer 21, fell in love and came into this world.
That's amazing. And so you got into coding at 16. I am also very curious, what got you into coding? That's not like a typical career path for women. And like, that's amazing that you got into coding at such a young age. What got you interested in that? Like, was there somebody that introduced you, a family member? Like, how did you kind of, decide that you wanted to be a software engineer or developer? I don't know. Is it the same thing? Software engineer and developer?
Yeah, they you can use it however you want. So at that age, I became independent from my family. Actually, at 16, I got emancipated and I wanted to build this life that I had envisioned. And to do that, I knew I had to maybe like step away from the nest. So at 16, I got emancipated. I'm kind of always researching. So researching's been a part of my life. I'm like researching what are the highest paid jobs that you can get. And software engineer is obviously one of them. Like it's been on the list since forever. And I would just go through the entire list and like look for jobs and kind of like research. But what's happening in the background is Google is selling my data, right? And it's telling like companies, hey, this person is interested in this. So eventually I got an ad from Codecademy and it was like, learn how to build an app. And it was a gamified way of learning how to build on JavaScript. And I loved it. That was it. I just got on it. It felt really powerful to be able to build something. Imagine that, like 16-year-olds on building websites. And there was so much ownership and autonomy that I just fell in love. I just felt really powerful being able to build things online.
So you never went to school for it? Like you were just self-taught?
I started self-taught. So eventually and by the way, I didn't even know this was a career. I kind of knew about it. I didn't know how could I get into it. I had no idea. So eventually I moved to LA in 2017. And when I moved to LA was when I started seeing all of these ads. Like this is actually a job and you can go to a boot camp. And I had no idea. I was living in Puerto Rico before that. So once I learned about that, I consulted with a few friends, got into a boot camp. It's like a high intensity 6 month make it or break it type of boot camp, $20,000. So you're like kind of committed at that point. So did that boot camp, and right as I graduated, I got a job as a founding front-end engineer for a company. Joined as an 8th employee, left with, I think it was like 200 of us by the time I left last year. And it was a crazy, like amazing journey that I definitely recommend to anyone out there who's kind of thinking about boot camps. I'm like, just do it. Don't even think about it.
You're such an action taker, like, and not just that story, but I mean, everything I know about you, like, I love it. I love everything that you've done. You've done so much in the Web3 space too. We haven't even started talking about that yet, but okay. So after, you do that boot camp, what's kind of the next step in your journey
as a software engineer?
Yeah. And then how do you tie into, and then when you kind of decide you want to create your own project, CryptoTechWomen?
Yeah. So, okay, I'll make it short. So basically I did a boot camp. I know I need a job. I'm applying to jobs. It's really rough out there applying to jobs, especially at that time, because boot camps were so new, where now boot camps are more acceptable because kind of the people from boot camps have been vetted, and now they know, oh, if you come from a boot camp, you got it still. Like if you put the time in, you got it. At that time, it was so new. So it was doing interviews, but honestly, I think it was a great process. So did an interview, flew to San Francisco to do one for my previous company called Forethought. Fell in love with the team. It's pretty cool. Was the first women engineer in there for a while. I was like, we need more ladies here. We kept trying to improve the pipeline, but it was pretty fast growth. So I came in, my job was to get our MVP recreated into React, which was my expertise. And it just kind of like blew up from there. I think I had a lot of knowledge from like management as well that I did before even becoming a software engineer. So it kind of tied up to put me in a great place where I was able to help build pipelines and processes within the company, eventually mentor a bunch of engineers. And I never saw myself leaving, which is the crazy part. So 3 years in, I told my boss, I'm like, hey, there's this thing NFT, they hate NFTs, right? Like tech people, they're like, NFTs scam, don't do it. But I'm so passionate. I'm learning. I'm really excited. And something about me is I'm really passionate. So if I'm passionate about something, I'm going to do it. And I told them, hey, I want to do something that I haven't seen. And there's not a lot of inclusivity in the space. The few projects that I've seen, which was World of Women, Boss Beauties, first generation was out there. World of Women, Boss Beauties, and CryptoChicks were the only ones. Like even those are like the second one of CryptoChicks haven't minted at that point. It's like I've seen these projects, but none of them really tap into the technical part of representation in Web3. It's a lot of like inclusivity for all, a project for women, but I wanted to create something a little bit more niche. And my goal was just doing something in education, helping bridge the gap for people that wanted to come into Web3. And something that I saw really, really early on is that in Web3, people were paying more than they were paying in normal traditional tech companies because there was less demand of people looking for jobs in this area. So I'm like, okay, so if someone may not really have like a bachelor's or the master, but they have the passion, they have the interest, they have the drive, they can get a better job than they can get in Web2. And, I'm a minority from Venezuela. My goal was I want to help bridge that gap for people and bring them here. So I think because of the nature of what I wanted to build, my company was super supportive and excited. I told them, hey, I want to build an educational platform. That's the ultimate goal, to be able to bridge skills. And my boss just like super supportive. They're like, yeah, Gigi, you got this. So I never saw myself leaving, but after the mint, it was really obvious. Building a company is a lot of work. I guess I really never saw it as building a company. I was like, I'm building a community. I'm doing something for good. But after like post-mint, the responsibility, it's a lot. And at that point, I was like, I need to take a step back and just focus on one.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of work, having a project. All the founders are always all stressed out. There's so much expectations and pressure and, just a lot that goes into it, especially when something is so volatile. It's just, whenever money gets involved, emotions are high. Michael, I wanted to hand over to you.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's continue on the project a little bit because I was looking, I was doing my research, going through all your with the link tree and all that. So the project came out like February 2022. It sounds like you were doing like Twitter Spaces, building that community, like you said. Tell us kind of what it was like, how it all kind of went down for you, if you do anything different. Because you mentioned you were a little surprised, like, oh yeah, now I have a business that I have to run and there's people like asking me to do things. So yeah, give us that story. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so the way that it went down was pretty much, so it was August 21 when I decided I'm going to do this. And for me, it was always clear the end goal was to build an educational academy geared towards Web3 that the holders would have access to. So that was always the end goal for it. And going through it, it was so I've built a community in Web2 before, also a tech community. That's what I used to do previously with my platform on Instagram. So it was pretty clear, okay, you have to build a community, you have to express the value. I actually did not bridge my previous following. I decided to create something new for the niche market that is Web3. And I was doing it all. I was doing the marketing, I was doing the community management, I was doing Twitter Spaces. I was kind of just doing it all because it was my passion. It was something really fun. I created the whole art direction for what I wanted the art to look like. I paid up front an artist and an agency pretty much to build the art for me. So that was an upfront cost. It was like over $30,000, but I was that confident and committed about what I was building. As a software engineer, I built my own website. I also built those smart contracts, and I hired 2 Solidity developers to come with me and advise me and, make sure that what I'm doing is right and correct. And that was kind of the process from August to December. So by December, I've been building this community. People want to mint. It's real at this point. And I think there was a little bit of fear with the mint process. So I kept, delaying it. I'm like, it's fine. Let's continue to build the community. But by February, there's 20,000 people on the Discord. It's a hype mint. I have no idea. I think just building a community and doing it right was what brought a lot of people to want to support this and mint this. And by February, my community was like, Gigi, it's been 6 months. We either mint this or, there's so many other projects dropping, bring this to life. So at that point, there were so many mints happening because of Women's History Month. So I decided February 26th, we'll do our mint. We'll do a pre-sale. That's pretty much how the story went. I think for me, the part that was the most surprising post mint, it was the bigger feeling of responsibility. Like Jennifer said, you have, pre-mint, there's responsibility still, but there's no funds, right? There's no funds involved. I think once the funds were involved, there is a lot of the community shift of what are things happening? Why isn't it happening yesterday? You're building a platform that should be built in 2 days, and not really understanding how the work that it takes to run a company, build procedures, build the educational kind of curriculums we were doing. It was a lot. And I come from Web2, right? So Web2, you have kind of more time to build things. It may take a month, it may take 2 months. It's totally understandable. In Web3, especially at that point, I think we've evolved as a community to this point. In Web3 at that point, it's if you have a mint, they expect the utility tomorrow. And it's not because they're vile that way, right? It's because other companies maybe have done them wrong, and now they feel scared. They're like, what's going to happen after mint? So I think it was just that. And also with my company, I had a lot of responsibilities because I was leading our product. So, it's I'm working 12, 15 hours in my job. And now I'm also working 12 hours with CryptoTechWomen. And at some point, I just hit a wall of being burnt out because I would wake up at 6 or 5:50, go to the gym, 6 to 8, 8 to 7. I would be working on my previous company. And then within that, I would take like my work breaks, which would be to work on CTW, and then about 8 to 2 a.m. I'm on CTW. So my sleep time is like 3-4 hours a night. It was not scalable at all.
Wow. That's interesting how that went down. And the timing was pretty wild because you literally were like right at the end of the bull market. It was literally like, that was like March, April, May is when everything collapsed.
Our mint, the night before our mint, I'm so happy. Our mint is happening the next day. The community is so excited. Like the discourse is full of like really exciting messages. And I'm on the phone with someone, and then that person tells me, "Hey, did you just see that?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, like Russia just fired a missile to Ukraine."
Yep.
I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, check Twitter." And I check Twitter, and it's chaos. And now the Discord's chaos. They're like, "Push the mint. You should have mint. You should mint." Oh my! Literally, it wasn't even. It was maybe 9 hours before the mint. It was struggle. It was real, but I'm so happy that we still pushed through it and it happened. But the timing was just wild.
That is pretty wild. Yeah, I know, because and that war is kind of what started the whole financial downturn all around. That's really crazy. You got that in right before that. That's wild.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
Exciting. And you keep mentioning the company you used to work for. Is it Forethought? Let me go back. Yeah, Forethought AI.
Everyone laughs because they're like, we've done generative AI since 2018. They're like, so you went from generative AI to crypto. That's crazy. I'm like, listen, no one cared about it. It wasn't that crazy.
What was that like? What did you guys do there?
Honestly, it was so fun. So we built solutions for customers in the customer support space. So it's a mixture of everything from chatbots. So if someone has to use Upwork, you've used their chat system. So that's a product I work with, which is like the chatbots. We built internal products for agents. So we use AI to kind of make agents their own sidekick with AI, where we're able to index like data for the companies and then serve it up to the agents to kind of make their life easier when they're answering any customer question. It's a whole suite of products that are all geared towards making agents more efficient and making response times more efficient for big companies that handle a lot of customer queries and in any type of product like that. We've had like Gusto, Upwork, and a bunch of big companies. I don't know which ones are public. But yeah, it was a really fun time. I loved working with them and their team, and everything was just great.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. They're still going, obviously.
Oh, yes. They're doing really great.
Are they cool? That's awesome. What AI do you use in your like personal workflow?
So I'm a big fan of AI, obviously, and ChatGPT, great one. Definitely get that upgraded plan so you get the upgraded models. Bard, I also use Google Bard. I use both. I think they both have different ways that they kind of communicate, and I kind of just input into both and get a workflow.
That's
but
a good idea.
I know a lot of people that are not pro AI, but I think as a founder and as someone that still does marketing and someone that has like my own personal brand, it can help you a lot. It can help you with brainstorming. It can help you even in terms of work and understanding like how can you be better at what you're doing and how can you make other people's life easier. But it's all about how you prompt engineer those prompts, and really add context so it can understand what's going on.
Cool. Yeah, I need to use Google Bard a little more. I've only been doing ChatGPT. I use it every day, but I do need to check out Google. Is that one free? Google Bard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to check 100%
that out. Free.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, Michael's a huge fan of AI. He's always he's always talking about it.
I'm mid-journey. I'm doing the art all the time. I'm doing all kinds of
So I'm kind of curious what your current focus is right now. Like, what are you kind of working on? I know you texted me and you said that CryptoTechWomen, you kind of are going through a bit of a rebranding. So I'd love to kind of hear what's going on these days.
Yeah. So there's so much going on. So throughout this bear market, we've stayed at it. Like, we're still building. We've seen a lot of companies that kind of like came in and left, and for us, that's not even an option, right? Like, our mission's still here. It doesn't matter what type of market we're on, which I think a lot of people forget about, like the mentality that you came in with. and just staying true to that vision and mission. So with CryptoTechWomen, we had an amazing year since its launch, like over a year. And we got to a place where we launched the project. We continue to do our weekly educational spaces. We've tapped into amazing guests that we've had. We launched our educational platform, W3 Learn Academy. And over there, you can find a lot of short form master classes. We also launched a free newsletter that's still out there for anyone called 30 Path to Web3. .xyz, and that's a free 30-day newsletter to get you onboarded from zero to like, what you probably need to have a wallet, maybe build your own collection or create your art. We done all of these initiatives. And now looking at what we want to do and how can we impact even more people, we kind of came to the conclusion we need to branch out of having a web app and building an app. So instead of having what we currently have, we want something that's on the App Store to have major distribution for anyone and everyone out there, right? It's going to be a complete upgrade in terms of the way that we were teaching. Right now, it's masterclass based. So it's short form video. We have a quiz at the end. You're able to redeem your on-chain certification, which in the background is a Tall token. And this has been great. But what I've came to learn looking through like data points is education has changed and the way that people learn has changed with that. And one of the most efficient ways to engage users to not just sit on a computer, but come back to this and continue to learn is gamifying education. So that's one of the main things that's changing. So we do want to update the name. We lost the name for the Tech Women, and if you currently are listening to this, you can find those. But we do want to have a name that is even truer to the mission, because at the core, our mission is to create accessible ways for everyone, especially minorities, to learn about Web3 or emerging technologies. And CryptoTechWomen, in a way, may not really communicate what the app is doing, right? So we want to kind of just make it into an app, have a name that is for the community, that is for the product. So the naming is right now, oh my God, we just did like a 2-hour session, like trying to, like, we're going through all the names. It's been 3 days. We've been talking about like all of the other characteristics. It's been a process right now, kind of like rebranding, if anyone has gone through that. But the goal of the rebrand is to just have one name that it's the same for the community and for the product, which is different from what we have now. Right now, we have one name for the product, one for the community, which can end up into building 2 different communities, right? There's a lot of confusion and complexities there. So having one concise name that is able to communicate what we're doing is something easy, rolls off your tongue. And then from there, we have our CTW PFPs. And right now, this is all being done with the community. We have weekly community huddles. We have feedback. We're now going to ramp up to 3 calls a week with the community in terms of, we want to make sure that whatever we do, it's aligned with what they want and something that excites them. Because at the end, like, our community is our biggest distribution method, right? Like, they are the people that love what we do. They're the people that stick to us. They're the people that are still here. So we want to make sure that we are doing this with them, because at the end, this is also for them. And then in terms of the PFP there, we are going to be upgrading to a mascot. So we want something that's really cute, likable, inclusive, genderless. Anyone and everyone can relate to it, and something that shows up in the app. So there are all of these elements being worked on, but at the end, when you think about emerging technologies, and for us, we're focusing on AI and blockchain, there is a big gap in terms of knowledge to opportunity. And we want to be able to bridge that in a way that, it doesn't matter where you are. You're in Spain, you're in India, maybe you don't know about Web3 because you're not on crypto Twitter. You go on the App Store, there aren't really a lot of solutions that are fun and engaging for people to learn about these technologies. And the reality is, if you're not learning about AI and blockchain, you're going to be left behind, right? Because even big companies right now are paying their employees to use ChatGPT Plus so they can make their job easier, so they can be more efficient at their job. And sadly, there's a lot of minority groups, gender groups that don't have the access to learn about this. And, they are not going to go to YouTube. It might be too complicated to like just watch a video for 5 hours, and they might not do that. They might not be reading papers. They might not even know how to read like proper papers or like search for them. So we want to create a user experience that's just super easy to digest. It's fun. It's engaging. They're being rewarded by their learning, and we're tapping into their core emotions as humans that we need, of wanting to feel rewarded, wanting to feel progress, feeling like you have a community to kind of like lean in beyond just having the app. And with the new mascot, also being able to create a lot of content that communicates to the new era, which is Reels, TikTok, Gen Z. So that is a big process, but we're trying to do it as fast as possible to, have something really cool to show.
That's great. Wow. And honestly, yeah, you guys are doing so much. It reminds me of the saying, like, build and they will come, right? It's like you guys are just building. And I actually have a CryptoTechWomen, which if you guys want to look at the collection, you can, check this out on OpenSea or any other ETH marketplace. But CryptoTechWomen, look it up. Pretty good entry point too, like especially with the amount of stuff that you guys are doing, like, definitely. That's amazing for it to be super easy and accessible and a good entry. Like that to me is one of the best things about the bear market, is like, because prices have come down on a lot of these projects, it's so much easier and more affordable to get into the projects that you've been eyeing, or, support builders in the space without really having to shell out a lot of money. So that's great. So one of the things you said was, you were changing the art over to like a mascot type thing. So is my CryptoTechWomen is the metadata going to change? Like, is it going to, the image going to be a different image now, or how does that work?
Yeah, so this has been a process where that, like, those are all the things that we're chatting with the community about, whether it's a burning mechanism where you have to burn your CTW, but in that process there are people that are very attached to it, right? Like they don't want to burn it. They love their CTW. They feel like they minted the right one. So we're kind of walking through and negotiating what could be a good claim mechanism. I think the burning could be something really, really memorable, right? But we'll see. These are all work in progress. We would not change the metadata at any point, because I think that kind of, I know there's some collections doing it. I would love to think that it's immutable and, there's no metadata changes, where I would rather do a claim for the new mascot. But it's going to be really exciting, because the thing about the mascot is that I am so excited to create something that, anyone can identify with. And it's just cute. And I think that's something that there are so many cute collections out there that I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. But at the end of the day, I'm currently rocking my own profile picture, right, on my social medias, because I think there is power of being doxxed. Like, I'm so doxxed. You can find me on LinkedIn, and there is power to that. But eventually I would love to wear something that maybe is mine and that I also think it's like really cute. So, but no, there's no metadata changes. There will be a claiming period. So I'll keep you updated.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I mean, I love how you do it too, like with your profile picture. It's like, it's your face, but also, in the photo as well, you have a bunch of your NFTs. You have your doodle, you have your, CTW, you have your Azuki bean, your pudgy penguin. So you kind of, I like that you did it like that. And yeah, one of the things you were saying, oh, I'm excited for the cuteness factor, reminds me of, speaking of pudgy penguins, we had Luke and Nets on, and he was saying, like, the cuteness factor goes a long way with NFTs. Like, people love, like, cute NFTs and stuff. So I'm excited to see what the art looks like, and, to continue following along with your guys' journey, seeing what you're building.
100%. I think that's the thing about Web3 is, like, whether you are in it for the utility or not, because that is also a reality. We have all of this utility. And for a lot of people, they bought because they support the mission. They bought because they support me. They bought because maybe one of them looked like them. They bought maybe because they thought their daughters kind of like it, because we also have a lot of males in the collection and or like owning the collection. But I think once you tap into a genderless, timeless IP, it's so much easier for other people or like anyone and everyone to relate to it based on different traits. But in terms of entry points, I will say 100% one of the things about accessible entry points is we've had initiatives that are not ours. They were kind of community done, where we've had one collector who's been buying them and giving them to schools in Africa so they can access our courses through them. It's like a little region. So that's been really cool. She's been sweeping so many of them to give them access to the courses. We have one in Haiti that he is super enthusiastic to, one, give them out, but also maybe start a chapter there and have maybe study groups. So I think the low entry point has really made it accessible for people that, again, would normally not access to a course that may cost you $1,000, $2,000, but with this NFT, it's free, right? And even with the app idea, so the app idea also enables us to create better business models that, you know, at the end of the day, longevity as a company is your number one goal. You don't want to be here for 2 years. You want to be here for 10 or more, right? And eventually maybe get acquired or IPO. Like that is the goal. That if you're starting a business, that's the one thing you should be really, really focused on. It's growth. So with the app idea, our holders will still have priority in terms of the things that we're doing versus not being a holder. And that's something that I'm really excited to kind of like map out and be able to show that there is power in owning a digital collectible, and it can grant you access in many ways. And there are reasons why, yes, you could do this in Web2 technologies, but there are so many ways that within Web2 technologies, things can be like spoofed or tricked. And I think still like betting on NFTs is still the move. Probably not a speculative asset, right? But there is power for people building real companies, and definitely Pudgy Penguins is one of them with everything they're doing.
Yes, and Gigi is a founder I can get behind. Support good builders in the space. Gigi's definitely one of those people. And you're always speaking at events too. I mean, yeah, I was saying I run into you at a lot of events, but you're also speaking at a lot of events. NFT NYC, most recently you spoke at, all over your Twitter page, you're speaking at a ton of events. How has that speaking and also like kind of the power of networking and going to events been beneficial for you, as a builder in this space?
I mean, I think even beyond this space, like when I wanted to be a software engineer, the first thing I do is I would be so weird. Then I would go to all the networking events and I would feel so uncomfortable because I 100% felt so unqualified to be at those networking events. And I definitely did not feel like an imposter because I wasn't fooling anyone yet. But I was like, oh my God, like everyone here has so much more experience than me. I'm going to sound like a dumbass probably with something I'll say, but I would still do it because showing up is literally 80% of it. Showing up and not being afraid to look like a fool and say the wrong thing, because, saying the wrong thing will eventually lead you to learning the right thing because all will correct you. So I did that before, and I did the same thing in Web3. My first Web3 event was G Money's Metaverso event in Puerto Rico in December 21. It was actually the day before my birthday. I went there. I met the best people in the space. Like I met, that day I met like Super Turley, who still a good friend with Trupa, like great mind, such a genius in everything he does. I met like the founder of Poa. There was just all these people, which again, I felt I was building my community. There are so many things I didn't know. And that was one of the best things that I did, was go to that event. I connected with so many brilliant minds that eventually ended up helping me through thinking through problems, helping me learn about the space more. We ended up doing partnerships eventually together. I mean, networking, I think, is 100% something that you should do. And even if you don't have the opportunity to go to real events, go to Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces is almost the same. It all depends what Twitter Spaces you're joining, right? But for me, networking online or IRL is number one. Like, it's the best way for you to meet people. It's the best way for you to make friends. It's the best way for you to scout for partnerships. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have this type of connection where maybe you've met or maybe you've chatted or maybe you send them a DM, the likelihood of you being able to send a cold DM and landing something is not that good. It's not that good. If you're looking for a partnership, it's rough. I think like building that relationship, and it doesn't have to be that you are building a partnership or anything. It just has to be that if you're in this space, you want friends. This space is rough as it is. That technical space, there are so many new things to learn, and you're not going to learn them by yourself. You're going to learn them by talking to people, by going to Twitter Spaces and learning about what they're talking about. You're going to learn it by going to in real life events and introducing yourself. And maybe that person is not someone who can help you in whatever you're doing, but the person they know is. And the power of human connection and networking is truly one that I 100% recommend anyone to do, and kind of step out of that bubble of feeling insecure and feeling afraid, because I felt 100% afraid. And I used to not even be able to think about speaking in public. And actually in 2020, I have a photo on my phone before the pandemic. I found a place to, they do public speaking classes in San Francisco. And at that time, I wanted to speak about coding. And I took a photo. I was like, I'm going to go and speak in 20 conferences in the next 3 years and talk about coding. And then the pandemic happened. So then I never did that class. And then I eventually ended up doing all the stages because I knew that I had something to tell. My speaking presentations are usually onboarding people into Web3 projects, like teaching them about how to build one or why you should be interested in this technology. And education, I think there's a lot of slack in this space. So making up my mind that is something I want to go and teach others, because for me, it's really important that you're not gatekeeping information, was what made me step out of that bubble and that fear. It's the same with Spaces. Spaces was Twitter Spaces, for anyone out there, seemed really scary at the same time, but it's fine. Everyone's been there. You'll get through it.
Yeah, we've done a couple spaces together as well. And you have your own show, Twitter Spaces show, The Hot Seat. So if anyone wants to tune in to some good Twitter Spaces, check out Gigi's Twitter. We'll definitely link it. Michael, do you have any more questions for Gigi before we go into our...
I have one more I wanted to bring up. Everybody that listens to the podcast knows how much I love to travel, and I've actually told this story before, but in the summer of 99, I spent the whole summer in Venezuela, all over the country. Where are you from in Venezuela?
I am from Puerto La Cruz. You know Puerto La Cruz?
I think so. Is that the port that's just across from the island of Margarita? Isla de Margarita?
My dad is from Margarita. And then
okay. I spent time in both. Yeah, I went to Porlamar, Juan Grego on the island. I loved Juan Grego with the sunsets and just a chill little beach. Like, loved it there. And I was actually, believe it or not, in Plaza de Bolivar the day Hugo Chavez was elected, which is like world history. I know. Yeah, I know. It didn't turn out so good. Did not turn out well.
Fun fact, my last name, which I just use my first and technically in Venezuela it's just one name, Giannina Scarlett. I guess in the US it's name and middle, but my last name is actually Bolivar.
Oh wow! Okay. Well, Simone Bolivar, I love it. Are you related, or who knows? There's probably a million.
There's probably some line down there.
Yeah, I loved it though. We had the most amazing time that summer. Such a beautiful country, amazing people, amazing food. Went over to Merida in the mountains. That was probably my favorite, with the Teleferico and the whole. We had such a great time. Kicked off my love for travel. I've now been all over South America, all over Central America, almost every country in South America.
That's amazing. I personally love to travel. I used to travel way more before becoming a founder, but now I travel for Web3 company, Web3 events. So, hey,
Exactly.
you take what you can get.
Love it. When did you leave Venezuela?
I left Venezuela pretty early on. So we officially left in 2002, which is when it started getting really bad. And I continued to visit up until 2011. But after that, it's really tough to visit. And still to this day, so most of my family is there, except for my mom and brothers and my real dad. And it's rough because I love my family so much. I want to be there with them, and
that is rough.
It's tough. So for anyone out there who's in my shoes, I'm with you. It's really rough, like being outside in a different country by yourself. But it just makes it so much more possible for me to help them by being out here and doing my thing here. So. It balances out.
Interesting. Good to hear your story there. Yeah, no, I mean it's really a shame. I've heard things have gotten a little bit better. But no, not from what you've heard. That's no. I watch like people travel there, some of like the YouTube travel people, but they probably don't give the full story. And
and also just like the level of security that you have to travel with, right? To be able to be safe. Like I have friends that are from Venezuela, still have the full accent, look like, Venezuelans. Because for my family, they're like, you're blonde. Like you need to dye your hair brown. You need to, there's a lot of steps to take. And I know people from there that, have gotten into situations, including my family. So it's not good. I want it to be better. One day it will be better.
One day it will.
Sweet. Okay, so let's go into our final segment here, which is our Gas Wars rapid fire question segment, where Michael and I are going to ask 5 questions each, not necessarily related to the Web3 space, and you'll just answer them in like a sentence or less if you can.
Sounds so fun. I'm so ready.
All right, sweet. I guess I'll go first here. What's something you've always wanted to do but haven't done yet?
Skydive.
Ooh, I went skydiving actually. I would recommend it.
I'm so scared that I want to do it one day. I think I will pass out, but we'll see.
Oh my God.
I'm willing to try.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Ooh, favorite thing to cook. It has to be my breakfast. Basic. It's turkey bacon, eggs, and I just put it in a tortilla and I make that a little wrap.
Nice.
Ooh, keeping it simple. Love it. Where was the one I was going to ask? Oh yeah, this one ironically ties in with Michael's. But what is your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, my favorite restaurant. Wow. I mean, I have to say this is very basic LA vibe, but I really love Catch LA because it has really great food, really great vibes, really great ambience. And that's usually where I go celebrate things when I'm excited.
Nice.
What was your first job?
Oh, my first real job was working on the clothing, on the dressing room department at TJ Maxx in New Jersey, in Cape Cod. Sorry, in Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
I used to always like TJ Maxx. That was like where I would shop when I was like a teenager. Always. What was your favorite TV show as a kid?
That 70s show.
Okay. Wait, as like a little kid, or how old were you when you were watching?
As a little kid, it was probably Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z. I'm a nerd.
Okay, nice.
Apes or punks?
Ooh.
Punk.
That's what everybody's been answering.
I know, everyone's been
apes
saying
has gone
punks.
down. Yeah, everyone's saying punks.
Oh, is it?
It's always been punks, though. It's always been punks for me. I like the provenance.
That's what Gary Vee always said too. You mentioned Gary Vee earlier. He always said punks is the one that's going to last.
Yeah, I like the provenance,
Yep. And they don't have to execute.
Yeah, they're just art. Right. What's one book that's changed your life?
One book that changed my life is called Choice Theory by William Glasser. definitely recommend to anyone out there. I literally recommended it yesterday to someone else too. I was like, change my life. You have to read it. And I gave it to...
Give us a little synopsis.
Yeah, so choice theory is really amazing. It literally is about choice theory. So I think in life, a lot of us react and we take actions and we take reactions and we think we're thinking, but no one's actually thinking. But when you take a step back, when things happen to you, even before you react, thinking about all of the possibilities in terms of, if I do this, what do I think will happen? And seeing all of the ways that your actions can change the outcome of anything that's happening. So it was really powerful, still is. Definitely recommended to anyone out there.
I love that. I'll have to get that.
Choice
reading,
theory.
so yeah, choice theory.
I like throwing things like that into ChatGPT and having them give me some bullet points.
That also works.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's typically my move.
Did I survive?
Yeah, I think Michael, you got one more.
I have two more, and you have one more.
Oh shit! Really? Okay.
Right? Yeah. Best concert you've ever been to?
Ooh, I mean, I'm Latina. Bad Bunny, baby.
Hey, let's go. Bad Bunny has some bangers.
I've been to all his concerts. And
really?
Fun fact. So in Puerto Rico, I was a VIP manager for a club. This is like 2016. And that was one of his first shows there when he wasn't even famous.
Wow.
I was like, oh, you're singing here? Oh, nice to meet you. I have like the photo. Yeah. After that, I've been to all. He's so great.
Wow. All of his shows. That's amazing. So you travel just to see him?
It's been, so I've seen like all of his shows in terms of like for the album he's done. So I've seen all of the ones in Puerto Rico. And then because, Puerto Rico is like, I'm connected with a lot of people there and everyone's kind of connected in some ways. It's such a little island. I was in San Francisco. My friend was like, hey, he's having a show. Here's some tickets. You should go see him. I'm like, yes. And then when I go to Puerto Rico, sometimes, like I'm just meeting, but to all his shows, but it's always so fun. I love like the happiness in the music.
Yeah. It's a good tune. I know some Spanish, but I'm not like fluent. So for me, I kind of like that. I like don't know what he's saying. Like I kind of like when I don't know.
I think it's better too.
Yeah, and it's just like I can just vibe. And then my mom was like, wait, do you even know what that's saying? Like I was like listening to this one Spanish like rap song and she's like, because she like speaks fluent. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to know what they're saying.
Yeah, you should not.
I can pick up little things here and there, but okay, my last question. What's something that you want to get better at?
Something that I want to get better at. There are so many things that I want to get better at. I think right now, because we are looking to build an app, one of the things I want to get better at is kind of like a coding language that's specific to that. So I would love to build some of it myself. I probably won't be able to build all of it, but I love coding, so I want to get better at that. But I think also probably, I would say that get better at having a real life outside of digital. That would be also one. I spend too much time just working in my, apartment or something. And I do not spend too much time with friends or doing things without my phone. So that's something I would love to get better at. Like, I think the most I've been without my phone in this past year, it's probably 1 hour while I was doing it.
1 hour.
So that's just,
I guess when you're sleeping 8 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
But besides that,
connected mentally. No,
right. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is really nice to go out in nature too, and just kind of, just be present in the moment and just be able to enjoy the beauty and really take everything in. Like that's something I've been trying to get a lot better at too.
I'm grateful for my friends that haven't unfriended me. But even I went to Puerto Rico. Recently. And I was at a Discord stage. I'm like chatting with my friends there, and my girlfriend literally just took it. And she says, "Please let her leave." I really want to be with her. She's visiting me. And I was like, oh my God, let me get out of this. But like, let me just stay there just in case. It's bad. It's bad. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's addicting. And my final one is, what is your favorite travel destination?
Ooh, my favorite travel destination that I've been to. I've traveled a lot. That's a fun fact. Before getting into Web3, I've hit more than 45 countries.
Nice.
Wow.
And
What the heck?
yeah. And I think the favorite one still is Italy.
Ooh.
And I really like Palawan and like Philippine Islands. Bali's really nice. But I think Italy has community. And that's something that reminds me of Venezuela. Before, like, you go to the streets, people are making friends, people are talking to each other. It's a very friendly, and I'm a little positive. Like, I love being positive. I love friendliness. I love having fun. So I think Italy just spoke to my soul, and I love the carbs and the food and the bread. It's just perfect.
Amazing. You survived now.
You survived.
Wow, I was sweating.
You made it through. Yeah, that was great. And yeah, that was a lot of fun, Gigi. I actually added your book to, so I always buy used books on Thrift Books. Shout out Thrift Books. And I'm always like adding books to my cart, and because I read books pretty quickly, I like to think. And so I'm Choice Theory, $4. About to get it.
Choice Theory $4. And if you get the 3-month free trial on Audible, you can get it for free.
You get the physical book for free or just the audiobook?
Just the audiobook.
Yeah, I don't like audiobook. I like to actually read. Like, I don't know. There's something about, for me, like being able to like touch a book and actually like read the words. Like I know it's kind of old fashioned, but I'm like, I just love that part of it.
I agree. I think audiobooks still are great if you're able to jump on, if you work out. I used to just work out, put the Audible on and just absorb it, but it doesn't stick the same because I sometimes get lost in my thoughts and then I missed out a whole chapter.
Yeah, you start getting distracted. Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, you can get distracted while reading too. Like, sometimes that happens, but anyway, enough about books, enough about reading, folks. Thank you so much, Gigi, for joining us on the show, and shout out to everybody who tuned in to this episode. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.